Good evening, everybody. This is Hustling Muscles. Welcome back, and we're gonna have another great talk. I'm gonna be joined by Dr. Devdata Mukherjee. So let's see if I can add her. I still don't see her. She must be joining us any moment. So I think, folks in Chennai, I think you guys have enjoyed a good shower. I think I have. So I hope everybody is safe and doing well. Okay, let me see if I can join Dr. Devdata Mukherjee. Sent her a request, so she should be joining us now. Yeah, I think cyclones have been a crazy time. Okay, there I have Dr. Devdata Mukherjee. Hey Dev, how are you?
Hi, Prati. I'm good. I'm good. How are you doing?
I am doing good. I hope I'm audible and clear.
Yes, yes.
Okay, this is great. So, firstly, how was the trip? I think back to base, back to
Um,
Bangalore.
yes, yes. Back to base. It was incredible. It was like 12 days of backpacking across Himachal. It was great.
Okay, this is great. Okay, now, we've already put up the topic, and this topic is something which has been in my mind for a very, very long time. I've spoken to a lot of people about it. Injuries. Now, there are very, sorts of injuries that have happened. I have gone through injuries. You have helped me come out of it. So, let's try and tell people about injuries and, their queries and things like that. First thing is training muscles. We overusing a muscle, me being a fitness freak, at times I have gone back to the gym. You remember, with a strained shoulders, I
Yeah.
was working out, and
Yes.
you told me to relax, things like that.
Yeah.
Our inner voice says, no, let's just continue, it'll go off, and things like that. What are the pitfall of when you work out with a strained muscle or you overstrain a muscle? How would you give it to the regular people? How would you explain it to them? What is the pitfall of trying to use this overstrained muscle?
Okay, so basically, I need to first explain the difference because a lot of people do not know whether a regular soreness is overtraining or not. So, when we come to overtraining, overtraining is a syndrome. Okay, we see it in athletes as well as people going to the gym on a very regular basis. First is overreaching. Okay, overreaching means you are trying to do regular training, mostly 6 to 7 days continuously without any rest. Now, what that leads to is a little bit of muscle soreness, which is unusually high. Overreaching can be corrected with rest. Like if you give enough rest, if you cross train, if you have, hard days and easy days, you will be able to take care of it. Now, overtraining comes when we neglect the symptoms of overreaching. Overreaching has already happened. We already have a lot of soreness. Our performance is already declining, but we are constantly training on. Then that can lead to injuries in the muscle. Now, overtraining is something very serious, which we see in a lot of athletes. Now, it doesn't just have like physical symptoms. It also affects your mental health. It also affects your motivation. It affects your health, like as in your cardiorespiratory health. It helps you. It works on your blood pressure. So there are a lot of effects which happen due to this. So I want to tell people like how does overtraining look like and how you can avoid it. So overtraining can have a lot of different symptoms. So the physical symptoms that are the training related symptoms that you will be getting is you will not be able to exercise at the same level that was quite easy for you. There will be a lot of stress. There might be signs of pain also, which is not going down with rest. Okay. Along with that, your soreness is unusual with a very little bit of exercise. And even after a full days of rest, when you get back to exercise, you are feeling very tired, very fatigued, and you want to cut short your exercise.
Hmm.
So these are the different training related symptoms that you will be feeling. The other symptoms are health related and lifestyle related. Now, lifestyle related, we will mostly see in people going to the gym because most of us are not training for a particular physical activity. Like none of us, not a lot of us are going forward with sporting activities. Like we're not training to become weightlifters or we're not training to become athletes. So what is happening for them is there is a lot of stress, there is a lot of demotivation, signs of depression, poor sleep quality, weight loss, sudden weight loss, diarrhea, constipation. All of these things are very lifestyle related changes that we see with overtraining. And the last is your health related changes. Health related changes are your heart rate, resting heart rate can be high. As you know that for athletes, the resting heart rate has to be low because the heart has to not have to work so hard to be able to get you into running and playing. So your resting heart rate increases, your resting BP increases, your stress increases, your for young athletes or young women, we mostly see that they suffer from amenorrhea or absence of menstrual periods. So all of these things are the result of overtraining, not overreaching. Overreaching you can easily take care of. Take 1 to 3 days of rest, get proper nutrition. Mostly overeating will go away. But overtraining is where you have to worry. So then we come to treatment of overtraining. So overtraining might always not lead to muscle strains as such. It can lead to a lot of other symptoms also. So shall we discuss the muscle strains first?
Yeah, please.
Okay.
Before we go ahead, overtraining, add something. A lot of people try to copy our trainers, our athletes. Okay, they are doing it, let us do it like them. But people have to understand, guys, their lifestyle, their goal is that. For them, it is a profession. For us, it is basically keeping up our good health, keeping our lifestyles active, working out, to just stay healthy. But for all of them, it is an occupation. It is basically their requirement. So us trying to, be like them or try to do something like them doesn't make sense. So keep that in mind, guys. You were saying, Dave.
Yeah, so I would completely agree with you on this, Pratik. A lot of people have gotten into overtraining because first is we try to copy whatever is there online. So we try to feel that if we are not working out every day, we are not working out hard enough. And that is where overtraining happens. If we are working 6 to 7 days a week, almost about 2 sessions a day, 45 minutes, to 1 hour, we are overtraining our body. So that's a classical sign. And secondly, a lot of us are using exercise to cope up with stress. And especially during the pandemic, we were so stressed out and we did not have an outlet for that exercise. So people, and these were usually the clients who were coming with injuries and overtraining symptoms to me,
Like me.
people who have never people who have not exercised so much previously, right? And suddenly we have all come from a sedentary lifestyle and we have started to exercise so much more. We are exercising all 7 days, we are exercising twice a day. We still feel that it's not enough because we are trying to deal with the stress of COVID. So that definitely needs to be taken care of. So whenever we are looking at, overtraining, we not just need to take care of the rest and the physiotherapy part of it where we take care of the injured muscles, but we also need to go ahead with, the awareness, like improving their mental awareness about their condition, reducing their stress, improving their nutrition, improving their sleep. All of that is so important for this.
Talking on this, I remember there was a point, I've already stressed this out quite a few times on my other talks, where I had got hold of this Hollywood actor, one of the most classical Hollywood actors, Sylvester Stallone, let me name him, the Rocky fan I am. So I remember I don't know where I found this, where I understood he's doing 2 workouts a day. And literally it was, I was doing cardio twice a day. I was doing strength training twice a day. I was pushing myself like crazy. It is then when Dave Gauri, started drilling it into my head that, dude, you can't do this. It's not possible. You don't have the stamina for this. And trust me, I was over tiring myself like crazy. And that was a time where I was at plateaus. I was stuck at one point, and it's when they explained things drilled, into my thick skull that no, you cannot do that. It's when I started seeing results again. Now, coming to the point, now what happens when somebody neglects? This is something again I have learned the hard way. When you neglect an injury, I hope there was a time, I think a lot of people in my account would remember, where I had said I have an injury, and that injury was basically when I had this portable pull-up bar, and I think I had
Yeah.
not put it up properly, and I came flying down with it right on my backside. And I tried to run, and I couldn't run, and you were like, you will not be able to run. I remember that was also a heavy
Yes.
conversation that went into deep in night. So why don't you explain people what happened? Because you were able to give me a very quick recovery, a very good recovery. I remember I listened to you, and I think within a few days I was back running. But yes, we took it step by step by step. I did not cut my cardio, I did not stop it, but yes, we were doing different things. Why don't you explain people like you explained it to me that time? What happens when you're using a strained or a worn out muscle to train or with that pain and things like that? Could you explain people what the side effects of that are?
Yes, sure, Pratik. So one of the major things that we need to remove from the, from our head is no pain, no gain. People still follow that. No pain, no gain. If I am not working hard, if my muscles are not hurting by the end of our workout session, then it's not like I'm not getting any changes. So that is where the overtraining comes from. That is where, and at that point also, I know that you were pushing so hard, and I was telling, like, you know what? We don't need to punish our bodies. We like working out has to be very pleasurable for our body and our mind.
When you say pain and gain, I'm like, okay, now Dwayne Johnson and Mark Wahlberg are out there listening to us.
Yeah, so what I usually go forward with is rest is the first thing that you need to take care of. Remember, your body responds to rest the best. Okay, I have met athletes with injuries. I have met regular people who go to the gym, who are very active regularly. I've met sedentary people who just suddenly started exercising, as well as people who have been exercising for years. Everybody deals with overtraining. Okay, it is something that we all go through. And what we need to do is first understand that exercising over pain is wrong. No matter at what level of exercise you are going, you're at a competitive level, you're at a recreational level, or you're just doing it like on a weekend basis. So you need to know that over pain, you should never exercise. Pain means something has gone terribly wrong. There is some muscle injury, there is some pull, there is something, and your body is stopping you from going forward with exercising further. Okay, so this is when you should be taking rest. Now, if you keep exercising over that pain, okay, it can lead to later proper strains of the muscle, which will keep you off exercise for 3 to 21 days almost. Okay, you will not be able to exercise during that time. Along with that, it can also lead to further injuries or stress fractures, which are very, very commonly seen. In athletes also, people who are overtraining, there are, it leads to stress fractures. Along with this, your entire way of exercising, your technique of exercising is going to change. Now, you have to understand that you are exercising for a purpose. You're exercising so that your muscles can get strong. You're able to sit, stand, walk, go about your daily activities correctly. If you are going on exercising over painful muscles, you can cause injury to the muscles. You can change the way you sit. You can change your posture. You can also increase the stress on the body, the cardiorespiratory system, as I had previously told. So pain is something we have to avoid. But if it is a general soreness, 1 to 3 days, you should be back to normal. If you feel that 1 to 3 days you're not coming back to normal, you have to seek medical help. You have to seek the help of tell your fitness trainer that, I have rested enough, I am not getting better, or make sure that you're going forward with meeting a physiotherapist. Let them know. You'll also need to tell about your history of injuries. We all have history of injuries. Like some of us suffer from back pain and we have gotten into exercise for that, or some of us have a recurrent ankle injury or instability. So let them know about your previous injuries and they'll be able to help you out with this.
Okay, now I would come back to soreness, but before I come to soreness, I have one question. Now, what happens if a person doesn't treat his pain properly? See, we have this attitude, ठीक है, चला जाएगा, यार, दर्द है, it'll go off. It's not a problem. But what happens when a person doesn't treat himself properly, doesn't go to a professional? I see there's this mind block mindset. A lot of people have that. Okay, this is a clicking sound. It'll go off. Nothing major. It's a little stiffness. I'll continue working or it'll go off. What are the dangers of that?
So basically, pain is a way of our body telling us not to proceed ahead. It's a warning sign. Okay. If we ignore that warning sign and keep on working out over that, it can lead to muscle injuries. It can lead to ligament injuries. It can lead to bony injuries. It can lead to further more injuries. For example, if you're working out on a injured ankle, okay, ankle is like, I'm just taking ankle as an example because it's like one of the base joints, like where your body sits. So if your ankle is injured and you're trying to do an exercise and the pain comes back again and it's excruciating, you can cause injuries to yourself as well as somebody else, like while lifting weights or something. So exercising over injury is bad. Exercising over pain is bad. Secondly, yes, we do have a lot of people who feel that, pain hai, chala jayega, it's okay, I will work out over this. I don't think that people should be doing that because that's where you are ignoring your body's warning signs. If you have a pain, you do not know from which tissue that pain is coming from. which is where a medical professional can help you. Okay, because if you do not know what tissue it is coming from, you do not know how to treat it. So thinking that maybe it is from a muscle and maybe I can treat it with exercise is completely wrong. It will be like maybe like 1 in 100 or 1 in 1,000 possibility that maybe it's because of a muscle and maybe it's with exercise it will go down. So we have to understand that since we do not know much about our body while exercising and we do not know where the injury is coming from, we should seek medical help where it is required. As I already told you, soreness usually stays 1 to 3 days. With rest, it will go away. But if we are having continuous stiffness, decline in performance, not able to exercise at all, severe pain, clicking, all of these things require medical help. If you keep doing exercise over it, you will end up with an injured muscle, a torn muscle. You might end up with a torn rotator cuff. You might end up with ligament injuries later on. It might lead to stress fractures
And see
later.
this
So
Dave's face suddenly, I could see. No. But what you're saying is correct. You've given a long list of this thing, and you guys going to Dr. Google is not going to help you. So,
that's true.
Dr. Internet, I rather would say, don't go to Dr. Internet and try searching, okay, I have this pain, how to solve. It doesn't work like that. The life problems can't be solved by the internet, nor your body's pain is going to be solved by internet. So, guys, as he said, if you're going through any of that, you need medical professionals, and you saw the seriousness they've said it with. Okay, now my next question to you is, we were talking about soreness. Okay.
Yeah.
Soreness versus stiffness. I remember somebody once calling me and, saying, Pratik, I worked out after a long time. My muscles are so sore. I said, you worked out a long time, muscles are sore. Now, I was so confused to tell her that, no, she said, my muscles have become so stiff. I'm like, how can your muscle become stiff? I'm like, how much time has it been since you worked out? She's like, no, I worked out for 6 months. I'm like, okay, what you're trying to say is you're just having, basic soreness since you've not worked out for such a long time. Explain people the difference between soreness versus stiffness. People confuse that, okay, this is soreness, this is stiffness. I think people need a little, round of information on that.
Okay. So basically, the main difference between soreness and stiffness can be taken by the time that it has taken to settle. So soreness usually comes between 24 to 48 hours of exercising. Anytime you have taken a break, you get back into exercises, you will be feeling a soreness. That is like an abnormal sensation in the muscle, which is not letting it work completely. And with rest, that soreness always comes down. Now, this is where I would like to go back to the question that lady asked you. Like I have been suffering for stiffness. Like I've started working out, and so many days I've been working out, and I have been suffering from stiffness. So actually, that might not be soreness, because soreness comes down with time. Soreness comes down with rest and recovery. Usually, you will not need anything. Probably a little bit icing, or probably like complete bed rest for 1 day max. Okay, get into mobility, get into stretching. Soreness will come down. Now, stiffness is basically a muscle's capacity reduces, a muscle capacity of working completely reduces. Now, in stiffness, what happens is this can happen either when we are overtraining the muscle or when we are doing something wrong. So stiffness, if you've started working out and it's been a month and a half, and you're still feeling that I'm not able to work that area completely, that might be due to stiffness. So either you might be overtraining the muscle, you might be undertraining the muscle. For example, if we are going forward with doing our core workouts, okay, and the stomach is feeling stiff for 1.5 to 2 months, that doesn't mean that you need to work out the stomach more. Okay, what about the couple muscle? Okay, so as like in the last session, we were talking about muscles work in couples and you need to balance them out. So you need to work on your back muscles, you need to work on your glutes, and then you will start to see the stiffness come down. So long term usually happens due to stiffness or reduced length, reduced elasticity of the muscle. That can be due to overtraining or undertraining, or maybe just a poor posture in training. And soreness lasts for 2 to 3 days. Usually after that, it completely subsides. So this is what people need to know, because usually people keep suffering with pain after months starting off exercise, and they still think that I am getting the pain because of soreness. Like soreness will come and it will go away. It will not persist for 2 months, 3 months, 4 months. So if you have stiffness, you really need to again seek medical help. Why? Because a physiotherapist or a doctor will be able to tell you, understand your body, understand your posture, what you do all day, what muscles you're working out, take a general, a detailed description of your exercise, how many sets, how many reps, which muscles are you working, when are you taking rest, and then they will be able to let you know why the stiffness is coming. So understanding the difference is very important, because once we know the problem, only then we will go to seek help.
Okay, that's, I think, very crisp and clear. Now, talking still on injuries, I have one more, one more doubt. I actually am reminded of a dialogue from Chak De India. I think, if I'm not wrong, the character's name was Bindya Nayak. She says in this, injury hai, jate jate jayegi. Can an injury just, by itself rectify, should it, if we leave it unattended? Because I've seen that there are a lot of people who have this, I don't want to go to a doctor. They will tell me this, they will tell me that. It'll go off. The pain will go off. I will just rest it. Does that work? Is that a sensible thing?
Okay. Chronic injuries, if you let it be, like if you keep working on top of it, it can lead to further injuries. So we need to understand that, yes, a lot of people feel that I'm exercising on a daily basis and I know my body. That is where this feeling comes from, that I know my body, I will not go to a doctor, I know my body, I will rest it out. So acute injuries usually can come down with rest. A lot of studies have shown, like for example in footballers, when they are having chronic injuries, that can also come down with rest. Okay, but if rest is not working, if icing is not working, you need to meet a doctor. You have to understand that this is not the match that you can get injured. If there is a chronic injury, your entire body goes through changes. I would again take the example of the ankle. Suppose ankle is injured. So your knee is working harder, your foot is working harder, your hip is working harder, your back is working harder, and your balance is gone. So with an ankle chronic injury, and if I keep thinking that it'll go away, chala jayega, theek ho jayega, I don't need to meet a doctor, you are at a risk of injuring your knee, your foot, your back, your hip, everything, even your upper body if you lose balance. So chronic injuries will not just go away on by themselves. Acute injuries, yes, a week to 10 days rest, correct physio, get into stretching, get back into your exercise gradually, that should go away. But chronic injuries, you really need to understand what is the mechanics of this injury. Kahan se aaya? Where did it come from? Why is it not going away? Find out what is the actual problem. Because sometimes chronic injuries can be at one area due to something else. Like I might always have a chronic injury on the shoulder whenever I'm going forward with an exercise. And me thinking that, okay, fine, maybe if I keep working hard, keep exercising, it'll go away, is not right. Because my right shoulder pain could easily be due to a left back stiffness. And if a doctor doesn't see it, they will not be able to understand the difference and they'll not be able to treat it. And I will end up injuring myself even further and further. So chronic injuries definitely need to be taken care by a doctor.
Okay. Now, I have my next question. I think my next question, I don't know if Dave remembers, this was the Pratik, who, rather the hustling muscles, who didn't know his workouts that time and had a lot of belief on the internet workouts. I remember asking this to Dave when I was long back in Bangalore, and I just met her that time, and I remember she rolling her eyes, and I understood, okay, I've asked something very dumb. Internet workouts. Okay, I'm not going to go how effective they are, how useful. Leave that. I don't want to roll the eyes again. I want to know, how safe is it for people to just blindly follow internet workouts? How can they lead to injuries? There are so many. There are, I think, millions of workouts, different workouts that even you and I wouldn't know today on the internet that are there. Can they lead to injuries when somebody does it blindly?
So 90% of my clients who have come with injuries in this past 1.5 years have been people who have blindly followed internet exercises. Now, it's a great thing that we are all trying to be more active. We are trying to go forward with exercise, but we need to understand our body and start slow. What happens is we watch a lot of videos and we get very excited and we get very motivated, and the next day, like somebody who has been sitting for 10, 12 hours a day and not moving at all suddenly wants to exercise 45 minutes a day, and he doesn't want to do the very basic exercise, or they don't want to start off with a proper stretching, a proper warm up, because these are not very exciting and glamorous, so they are not shown on the internet. Okay, these are the ways to prep your body. So they directly want to go forward with heavy weightlifting, okay, with a muscle which is already tight, already stiff, and they want to do very different weird sort of exercises. So there are very exotic exercises out there on the internet which
Stop.
are very different from our functional activities. I mean, there are only a certain set of exercises that you can do, and you progress them slowly. It's the boring exercises which give you results over a period of time. Okay, your warm ups, your stretches, your boring functional exercise. For lower body, you have to do a lunge, you have to do a squat. Doing some random, acrobatic exercise which you've seen on the internet is only going to lead to injuries. So I have said this again and again. Exercise give you results with consistency. If you are ready for the long haul, you need to be okay with doing the boring exercises. Okay. There are only so many exercises. If you want to do like, okay, I should be doing the biceps curl, but like in a different fashion, then it's not going to work for your biceps at all. It's probably going to injure you. So I keep telling this, and I think I was telling you this to you as well. I was remembering our conversation right now that internet is not where you can get information about how to work out. Everybody's body is different, and you have to take care of the body that God has given you. You cannot take it lightly.
I said you cannot copy paste it.
Yeah, exactly. You cannot copy paste it. Just because somebody looks great on the internet doing that particular exercise does not mean that that exercise is meant for you. Go forward with meeting somebody who can tailor make an exercise program for you. Again, you need goals for that. Okay, you cannot just say that I want to, you can have realistic goals. Like I want to go forward with a marathon in the next 6 months. Or I want to go ahead with, a deadlift of like 150 kgs or something in the next 6 to 7 months. So you can have goals, and then you can meet somebody who can understand what your body is like right now, take your baseline measurements, help you understand where you will be prone to injuries, what areas need to be worked out, and then give you an exercise plan. Copying and pasting exercises from the internet, their body is different, your body is different. They will be still smiling and laughing while doing those exercises. You will be injured. So I would not suggest that at all.
So now it's official. We have a new name for internet workouts. It's going to be called exotic workouts. I like that term, so let's make that famous. Exotic workouts term. Okay. Now, my next question to you is one of my last questions. A lot of bodies are prone to, small injuries, big injuries, things like muscle pull, cramps. I find a lot of people. I've been there when I started running. When I started, oh, my muscle got pulled. What sort of bodies are prone to that, and why are they?
Okay, so there is a lot of injuries that you're prone to genetically. Like some people might have a history of osteoporosis. They might be prone to more bone fractures or bone stresses over a period of time. Along with that, there are some people who are genetically, they have very lax or very loose ligaments. So what happens when you have very loose ligaments is ligaments, they provide integrity, structural integrity or stability to your joint. Okay, so if your ligaments are very lax, your muscles have to work twice as hard. So if your muscles are not trained to work twice as hard, your ligaments can get injured faster. So you will be seeing a lot of ACL injuries in such clients. You'll be seeing a lot of other ligament injuries in clients. So there is a genetic predisposition for certain injuries. And secondly, there is training which leads to certain injuries, like the way we run, the way we walk. Everybody does not walk the same way. Some people keep their feet outside. Some people tend to walk with their feet very narrow. There's a very small example of how we are all very, very different. So the way we walk, the way we usually run, the way we train, whether we have recovery or not, all of these things can also lead to injuries. So there is always genetic predisposition, and there is how we are building up, like nature and nurture. in the body, how both of these things are leading to injuries. So what we need to do is, if there is a genetic predisposition, for example, if somebody has very lax ligaments, we need to go forward not with a lot of stretching, because they already have very lax ligaments, they already have loose ligaments, the muscle or the joint is moved to its full range of motion. We need to go forward with more of strength training, because the muscles have to do all of the job, not the ligaments. Okay. And then we also have people who have very, very tight and stiff muscles. So we need to go forward with stretching, dynamic warm ups, much, much more for a longer duration for these people rather than the general population. So we always need to understand what we are born with and how we have raised our bodies, exercise wise or lifestyle wise, and then see what injuries we are prone to and understand them and do. For example, you always see footballers who are very short. You know, it's easy for them to run around and control their body. Now, somebody who's very tall, who's getting into football, like a very simple thing, like genetically, he's blessed with like a longer height, but usually those people will end up injuring themselves. Yes, they will be giving a lot of headers. Okay, they are the best, like the tallest people. I think somebody who has the record for the maximum headers is a person who is like more than 6 feet tall in football. But the other thing is, he will have higher chances of injury because he's running at a very fast pace and he has to be very agile. Somebody who is a lot shorter is more well fitted for that particular sport. And when you have people going into gymnastics, so people going into gymnastics usually have very lax ligaments because they don't need to work hard to get that extra bit of flexibility. Now, somebody who has very, very tight muscles, who is trying to get into gymnastics, might find it very difficult. So first is, we need to identify the genetic predisposition that we have for a particular injury. Secondly, how our body is made up to handle a particular injury, or how we, like people have knock knees, so they will injure the knee ligaments, or they will have flatter foot, so they will injure the foot. So we need to understand which injuries we can have. Secondly, choose something. If you're choosing a sport that you want to play in, choose something which will be comfortable and good for your body. Like, for example, if you have lax ligaments, doesn't mean that you can't go into sports. You can go forward with going into a sport which is very flexible, which requires a flexible body, like gymnastics. Or if you're really tall, you can go into something like swimming, because you can get an advantage from that genetic predisposition to injuries. Yes. So if you're short but you're very athletic, you can get into playing football. So you need to make sure that whatever you have doesn't come as a shortcoming, and you choose something where it actually works really well. So I think that I usually give this advice to a lot of people. Like, people keep trying to push their body into a mold. Everybody cannot do everything, but you can excel at one thing. Okay, so I think that you need to identify what you have and make the most of it, rather than worry about what you don't have. So
Could have not been put better. Now, my last question. I think this should be a little exciting one. Okay, now, let's compare two people, two type of people. Okay, my thing is basically an athlete. Okay, you can take somebody like a King James or a Ronaldo, and somebody normal like hustling muscle. Okay, now recovery for all of us. Okay, now these guys are athletes. We're talking about King James, who is dominating basketball at the moment. Then you're looking at Ronaldo, who's looks to dominate football again for a decade. I hope, hopefully, but they all have injuries. I have injuries. Will my bodies and their body take the same time to recover, or they have a quicker recovery time since they're athletes? Give a little explanation on that. Do
okay,
athletes
so
have advantage is what I'm trying to ask.
yeah, athletes always have an advantage. In fact, being fit has an advantage. Now, we must all know that just because we are into fitness, or we are going to the gym on a regular basis, or playing on a regular basis, does not mean that we will never have injuries. We will always have injuries. Now, what this means is our recovery from the injury. If we are sedentary and we don't move at all, our recovery is going to take a very, very long time. Like for somebody who's old or senile and they just had a fall on their back, they are not going to be able to get up and walk it off easily. They are probably going to be suffering with a lot of pain, and they will probably be bedridden. But somebody like in like football, you will see people like falling left, right, and center, and you'll be like, how is he walking and running and playing after that? So that is because they have trained their muscle to that level that their recovery is much more easier. Their body is used to it. So the only way that you can prepare yourself and reduce your recovery time is to keep pushing it, but get to that sweet spot. Even athletes go wrong. Even athletes overtrain all the time. Okay. So reach a sweet spot where you're training it just the right amount and you're not training it too much that it leads to a decline in performance or pain. So fitness is the ultimate goal because we keep thinking that fitness leads to weight loss. So our entire goal of fitness has become like very blurred because of what we see on the internet. We see somebody who has like an 8-pack abs and we think that, oh my God, I need fitness because I want to look like that. But fitness is more about how to improve your immunity, how to make yourself less prone to injuries, how to come back from injuries faster, how to be able to do your daily activities without any difficulty at all, like lifting a water can or lifting a box or running for like a 10K or trekking one day without any injury. So that must be your goal, which is where athletes fare higher because they are ready for anything. They have worked that hard. They're ready for anything. Their muscles can recover back. Usually, for a person who has a fall, they may take like 3 to 21 days to recover. An athlete might recover in 2 to 3 days and just get back into playing. So it always helps if you're fit because it's not that you will never get injured. You're just going to recover from the injuries so much more faster.
So this has been interesting. Now, guys, you guys have understood why an athlete or why a King James or a Ronaldo or a Messi have a better recovery, a quick recovery. They also go through pain. They also take time to recover at times. It depends on injury to injury. But yes, because they're so active and things like that. So the baseline is stay active, do some sort of physical activities that will do good for you and all over, 360 degree of your life. So it's always good. So, Deb, anything you would like to end the note with? Any advice from Dr. Dev Datta Gupta before we, sorry, Dev Datta Mukherjee, I'm so sorry. Before we
So, my advice would only be since I have been seeing so many cases of people following exercises on the internet, I would just say that understand your body, understand that that person who looks that great, exercising, smiling and exercising with weight. First of all, like nobody smiles. I've never smiled while lifting a weight, but understand that those people that you see online, their body and your body is very different. If you try to do the same exotic exercise that they're performing, that you might get injured. There are a certain set of functional exercises and set your goals correctly. If you're exercising to make your life more functional, that you can lift weight, you can run, you lift your baby, you can stand for long hours, sit for long hours and work, then that should be your goal. Just because somebody else is doing a deadlift for 150, 180 kilos, that should not be your goal because
absolutely.
that is not a realistic goal. You should be keeping fitness according to your goals and you should be working towards that. So don't worry about what other people are doing. Concentrate on yourself and be better than yourself yesterday. Don't try to be better than other people.
Then just
Don't
be
compare.
better. That's
Yes.
something, all should make a note. That should be the thought of the day today. So since we're talking on injury, I would just like to end it with, guys, we all go through injuries. I have gone, I'm sure Dave also at some point of our life has gone. We all do. The greatest example I can give you guys is what I can remember in this short time is Sachin Tendulkar, one of the the god of cricket. He went through some of the most drastic injuries, but he never gave up. I still remember when his tennis elbow came, and I don't know, since I'm a fan of cricket and sports, I remember seeing his documentary where he said, young kid bowlers were bowling to him, and he was not even able to hit them out of the park. He was not even able to drive the ball towards there. So he came back from there. He came back from there and completed his 50 odd hundreds. It took him time. It
Correct.
took him, but he never gave up. Okay. And he took professional help also. Keep that in mind. He never treated himself. He took some of the best professional help he could get. So, guys, if you guys are going through pain or if you have some sort of injuries, don't shy away. Meet a professional help. Get the best help you can. The road to recovery is always easy when you have professional help next to you. You can DM us if you have any inquiries. You can DM Dave. You can DM me. We are always there to help you. Anywhere else you want to go to a proper uh, sports therapist or whoever you think is good, but go take professional help. It's always better. And don't give up, because injuries will come and go. It's like ups and downs of life. So that's all I'm going to say.
Correct.
All like the ups and downs of life. Don't give up, don't give in, never give in, as I say nowadays. So anyways guys, this has been a great session. So I thank Dr. Devdatta Mukherjee. Thank you so much, Dev, for your
Thank,
time. And
thank you. Thank you, Pratik.
so guys, this is the Dr. Devdatta Mukherjee and Hustling Muscles signing off. Thank you, guys. This was an amazing talk. Thank you, Dev. Thank you once again.
Thank you.